Okay, we're live.
Good afternoon.
We're live.
What? Are we ready?
Yes, hello.
Okay. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us at the 56th IAPD Monthly Forum. I am Tomiko Dagan, the Senior Vice President of the Universal Peace Federation USA and the Director for the Interreligious Association for Peace and Development, in short, IAPD USA. IAPD is one of the associations of the Universal Peace Federation, which is a non-governmental organization that has general consultative status in the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations. IAPD offers numerous programs, including this one, that bring together leading experts and civic leaders to explore the opportunities for improving relations in the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. The IAPD peace programs provide track to diplomacy, which is known as a soft power. This involves engaging people to people in person and working towards peace, particularly peace and unification on the Korean Peninsula. We are looking forward to this webinar series as a great opportunity to gain more knowledge about the issues and the challenges and ultimately develop the courage and commitment to make this world a better place. I would now like to invite today's program moderator, Dr. Michael Jenkins. He's the president of UPF, North America. Dr. Jenkins, the floor is yours. Dr. Jenkins? Hello? Let me call Dr. Jenkins.
Yes. Welcome to our program today. Thank you.
Dr. Jenkins,
can you see me?
No, we cannot see you. Yeah, you are. Now we can see you, Dr. Jenkins. Please unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. All right, why don't you introduce our program and introduce me, and I'll bring on Ekna.
Okay, I introduced you to come to the floor.
Okay.
You couldn't hear, we did it. It's your turn, Dr. Jenkins.
All right. Welcome to our program for the Universal Peace Federation, sponsored by the program called, and our association called the Interreligious Association for Peace and Development. And we have regular programs every week based on our association. The UPF is a NGO with general consultative status with the United Nations, and we are working throughout the world. We have a program today to explore the possibilities of peace through experienced leaders who are working throughout the world. First, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Eknath Dakal, is currently the Vice President of the International Universal Peace Federation. He's our International Vice President. He's also the International Secretary General for the Interparliamentary Speakers Conference. He's currently a member of the Parliament of Nepal. He's a former Minister of Government under President Oli. In the past, he served with distinction, and now he will make his keynote address and I'd like to welcome everyone. Welcome. One of the great leaders that I've worked with throughout the world in every continent, and I had tremendous experiences with him with his diplomatic skill and his ability to reach every level of government in every part of the world. We also had a wonderful time getting to know the United Nations, President of the United Nations General Assembly, President Philemon Young. It was a tremendous experience, and Eknath opened that door so quickly with our president, Dr. Taj Ahmad. And we got to be friends with the president of the UNGA. He gave a wonderful message for our last conference at the World Summit from April 10th through 14th. So I'd like to welcome at this time the Honorable Eknath Dekal.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jenkins, the President of UP of North America. It's always a pleasure working with you. And thank you so much for your leadership, not only for North America, but also for all over the world. You mentioned about Prime Minister Wali. Actually, he always remember you as you met him number of times in Nepal and in other countries in the world. And thank you so much, Mrs. Tomiko, the Senior Vice President of UPF USA, for inviting me and for organizing this very timely webinar. And also hello to Mr. Lawrence, and hello to all the participants who are joining from around the world through this Zoom meeting. I like to basically this presentation, I like to share some of my practical experience working to promote dialogue and cooperation through people-to-people relations. Of course, through the Universal Peace Federation, we have a wide range of outreach and all the levels of the societies in the world. But today's presentation, I like to focus on one of the projects that is connected with Northeast Asia Peace Initiative, which basically promoting peaceful reunification of the Korean Peninsula. So in my presentation, I like to address these 3 points. The importance of acting now and being proactive in peace. Secondly, experience in high-level delegation visit to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea. And thirdly, the insight gain and how it applies today. Basically, as I was introduced, I am from Nepal. And why Nepal is chosen to outreach North Korea is because Nepal and North Korea have historically has a strong diplomatic ties. Nepal hosts actually both North and South Korean embassies. And also in 2007, Nepal conducted a friendship visit to DPRK to promote people-to-people relations and contribute to humanitarian efforts. And after 10 years, in 2017, a high-level delegation from Nepal also visited North Korea. This is 2007, so you can see this is our delegation. We board from Beijing, from Air Koryo, which is the state airlines of North Korea, and we landed in Pyongyang, and we're warmly received by our friends from North Korea. And we visited some child center. We did some humanitarian service project. We distributed some stationary materials and have some interaction in the child center. We met one of the minister in the North Korean government. We brought this special gift from Nepal. This is called Peace Bell, because our mission was peace, to really promote peace in Korean Peninsula and peace in the world. So that's why we brought this peace bell to the North Korean government. And later we got message that this was presented to the supreme leader of North Korea. You can see here picture, we have this friendship exchange program, and we really had very fruitful dialogue. So through this connection, we basically have official contact with North Korean government and also some organizations over there. And we continue to engage through the North Korean embassy in Kathmandu, in Cambodia, in India, in different parts of the world. So they're always friendly to connect with us. And 10 years later, in 2017, a time of worrying tensions between the DPRK and the free world, especially with the United States, our co-founder of the Universal Peace Federation, Mother Moon, which fondly nowadays called as Holy Mother Han, I decided to be proactive and to act now. So through UPF and International Association of Parliamentarians for Peace, with Dr. Jenkins is our international coordinator. So Mother Moon advocated for a high-level delegation to visit North Korea as a sign of compassion and peace. Of course, we continue the legacy of our co-founder, Father and Mother Moon, who initiated the peaceful reunification of the Korean Peninsula project together with the North Korean founder, President Kim Il-sung. And you can see here the picture. This is the headquarters of the Nepal Communist Party, where the international co-chairman of IAPP, Excellency Jose Dominica from Philippines, he visited, who chair IAPP along with Congressman Don Broughton from United States. And we met with the communist leader to really promote dialogue and cooperation, and also to reach out the communist states like North Korea for peace and friendship. And then you can see in the picture, there's a North Korean ambassador who came and discussed with us and organized our visit. This is a North Korean ambassador to Nepal, and is really happy and proud to bring our delegation to North Korea second time. Again, we board from Beijing, and this time when we land in Pyongyang, we found something different, because when we visited there 2017, the airport was very humble, but this time you can see the airport was quite modern, and we could see that North Korea also gradually changing. So this is our delegation. We are around 10 people, led by the former Prime Minister of Nepal, who is also the senior leader of Nepal Communist Party, parliamentarian. And IAPP sponsored a delegation composed of 5 different political parties: democratic parties, communist parties, minorities, regional parties. So parliamentarian from 5 different political parties were in the part of delegation. So this is the state guest house in North Korea where we stay. And then we have different kind of activities there. We visited also the countryside. This is the picture from the countryside, and this is the picture gift we brought from our delegation. This is the Tower of Juche idea, which is quite popular tourist destination in North Korea. So you can see some of our picture. This time even we found a beautiful cafe, which was not there when we visited 2007, but after 10 years, so they are also gradually growing. And then, so we started to have a meeting. Especially we visited the birthplace of President Kim Il-sung. We offered some flower as a gesture of respect. And then even we met some of the Nepalese living there who work in United Nations. We tried to reach out as many as possible. But as you know, in North Korea, it's a closed society. It's hardly you can communicate with any local citizens. So that was the challenge, but we tried to find every different avenue or opportunity to dialogue and relate with the local North Korean citizen. We participated the cultural performance, and it was and also some sport activities. So through this kind of track to diplomacy, soft diplomacy, so we can really relate with them. Even we participated some game with them. And the program actually was presided by the president of North Korea during that time. Excellency Kim Yong Nam, who is called the President of the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly, who is legally the President of North Korea. 2,000 North Korean leaders were there. We were a special guest over there. And we started to have high-level meeting. Our first high-level meeting was the visitation of the Korean Supreme People's Assembly. Supreme People's Assembly is like the Congress, like the Parliament of North Korea. We were warmly welcomed by the Education Minister, and then we have this dialogue. So actually, that time we just started to inaugurate the International Association of Parliamentarians for Peace. It was officially inaugurated inside the North Korean Parliament. We met with the North Korean parliamentarians and also IAPP representatives together. You can see here, this is the inside the North Korean Parliament, where we try to build parliamentarian to parliamentarian relationship, because parliamentarians also represent the people through parliamentarians, so we can connect people to people relations. So this is the, and our second high level meeting was the vice chairman of Korean Workers Party. Actually, he served as the foreign minister in North Korea. He also involved, he's one of the main guy who involved with the summit meeting between President Trump and General Kim Jong-un. So from North Korea, he was one of the person who coordinated this meeting. We have over 1 hour meeting with him. We discuss, we bring the UPF message of peace and the message from our co-founder, Holy Mother Han, Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon. It was a high time of tension between North Korea and United States and the free world. And then this is the foreign minister, former foreign minister. And after that, we had a dinner meeting with the president of North Korea, Excellency Kim Yong Nam. So he is the president of the Supreme People's Assembly. So he hosted dinner for our delegation, and you can see here, we met education minister, we met women leader, we met another vice chairman of the Korean Workers Party, and also we met the youth leader, the youth wing of Korean Workers Party, who later came to Nepal and visited our UPF Peace Embassy in Kathmandu, our UPF office, and we had a meeting with Nepalese parliamentarian. So in this way, it's not only like we visiting North Korea, and also North Korean parliamentarian also came, and we connect through people to people relation. I think this is one of the topic of today. So through this, what is the outcome of this visit? This visit demonstrated that UPF and IAPP and the founder Mother Moon were proactive and actively addressed the world's issue. It is a sign of remarkable success to send a high-level delegation led by a former prime minister in the midst of warring tension in the Korean Peninsula. Despite sanctions, the visit represented a strong message of fostering peace through dialogue and understanding. So IAPP was well introduced among the North Korean leaders by the former prime minister and the leader of Nepal Communist Party. North Korea even considered sending their parliamentary delegation to our IAPP conferences, and IAPP was successfully launched in North Korea. So our message was visibly delivered to the North Korean supreme leader through their highest officials. So this may have contributed to North Korea reviewing their policy and taking a step back from their readiness to attack the US military base in Guam, because that time tension was really high. The international headlines following the high-level visit to DPRK was something like this. You can see that right after we visit, there is coverage in North Korea and also some international coverage. South Korea president open to sending a special invite to North Korea like this. So there was some dialogue was actually open. We are not claiming that we bring this result, but I believe that our visit contributed to create the environment for cooperation and dialogue. I think that is the role of UPF and our peace forum. And our visit was well covered by many media. You can see Nepali parliamentary delegation visit to North Korea for peace and friendship. This is Republica, the sister newspaper of New York Times, International New York Times. And then we didn't stop there. We had a follow-up activities after we came back to Nepal. Again, we invited the North Korean ambassador and other stakeholders, and we had a program in Kathmandu. We discussed about Panmunjom declaration for peace, prosperity, and unification for Korean Peninsula. So here in my conclusion is that this visit was not the end goal, but a part of continuing initiative to promote dialogue and cooperation through people-to-people engagement and track to diplomacy. So the visit is an example of how UPF's principles of peace can be implemented in real life through people-to-people relations and dialogue. Theory without practice is insufficient. We must act now. So I really appreciate Mrs. Tomiko-san for organizing this program. So I conclude here. Thank you very much for giving me time.
Thank you, Minister and Member of Parliament Eknath Tikal. This was such a powerful presentation. I saw with my own eyes as I was working in the UPF globally, and I saw with my own eyes what happened to UPF as an NGO when the Parliament of Nepal had delegates go on behalf of UPF as ambassadors for peace to North Korea. And they were also doing diplomatic work to bring the message of Holy Mother Han to the North Korean leadership, showing respect, showing care for the suffering of the people of the North, and also offering support. It had an enormous effect on the vision and the understanding of UPF from the heads of state from over 100 countries. There was all of a sudden, there was a purpose to UPF that couldn't be carried on just by governments, but it was an NGO partnering with other diplomats and governments and going to be a bridge between countries that couldn't get along, because UPF has Western democracies that are very much part of the ambassador for peace, like Congressman Dan Burton that Eknath mentioned, and also President Trump has worked with UPF, and also Vice President Pence and Mike Pompeo, all of them. At the same time, it's not easy to have engagement and dialogue with North Korea, although Mike Pompeo did achieve that. And he came with UPF, and that opened up many other doors to dialogue in the North. But the delegation under Eknath Tikal opened up the position of UPF in a new way for the whole world. And now we have partnerships with countries that are actually sometimes at odds with other countries. They can come together in the World Summit and the UPF umbrella, under the UPF umbrella, and find a safe place where all can dialogue together. I can't thank you enough, Eknath, because it was like turning on the lights of hope for our relations with North Korea, South Korea, and the Western democracies, and also China and Russia, and all the nations of the world. They all must be respected. So Eknath also was Minister of Unification and Peace in Nepal, and he was very central to the dialogue between the different factions in Nepal that were actually divided for many, many years. It was almost hopeless that Prime Minister Oli could create a government and hold it. And he is a leader who is from the communist background, but he is a nonviolent leader. He opened up that door for dialogue, and Eknath was chosen by him to be a minister that led the dialogue. And it took 12 years before they finally signed a peace treaty and agreement that just was finished last year. Congratulations, Honorable Eknath Tikal. We're honored to have you here. Thank you very much. And I'm so grateful. Thank you, Dr. Duggan, for arranging this kind of high-level presentation today. Next, we have a very wonderful person in Lawrence Bear, who is a very excellent diplomat and peacemaking through culture and many programs. He worked with Secretary Anderson, the Secretary of the Treasury for the United States, and developed a financial institution for development. He's a wonderful person of faith, but also engagement and love. He has many beautiful children. Now he has 11 grandchildren. He's a great musician and songwriter. I think we're going to hear some of his music also. Also want to mention on the call today on the Zoom here today is Mr. David Eaton, who has for years been the international coordinator for the International Association of Culture and Arts for Peace. And now he's on a global level, really bringing some of the great leaders in culture and arts together to bring peace and bridge the gap. He was involved with the fact that our founder had created the Little Angels dance troupe from South Korea, and it was the first cultural and musical dance troupe to go to North Korea from the South. It was the first. And then the North sent down a dance troupe to coordinate with them. And David Eaton was involved with all those matters. He did a tremendous work also in Israel, bringing Israel and Palestine together through music with David Dorr and also Miss Seiko Lee. So thank you, David, for being with us. I think we want to get a hello from you. Next, we'll go to Lawrence. Lawrence, go ahead. Let's welcome Lawrence Bear. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Jenkins. And thank you so much, Minister Eknath. That was really inspiring. And again, so much hope for everyone. Tomiko asked me to speak today to update and reiterate a presentation I made a year ago, and also in honor of July 4th, or our Independence Day. So I wanted to offer this song, which I wrote with one of the top musicians of Ireland during the pandemic when he wasn't touring. We wrote some songs together, and this one is based on a fictional story that was published in 1861 at the beginning of the Civil War, talking about these three visions that were given to George Washington. It's kind of a famous myth, one about the founding of the country, then the Civil War, and then this final battle that would happen in America. And so I wanted to share that. Let's see here. How come I'm not? Excuse me for a second. I have to open up the file, which apparently is not open. There we go. Now I can go back and share. Okay.
In the harshest of winters in Camden Valley Ford, the father of a nation knelt in prayer, searching far away out of his hopeless course. He looked up and saw an angel standing there, unable to stand, unable to speak. A vision appeared before his eyes. Great armies fought before him, and he heard the dying shriek as he watched his nation's fortunes fall and rise. Son of the Republic, look and learn. Three great pearls you must master each in turn. The birthing of your nation, sovereign and free, union of your state's equality. The third and final test is one you cannot fail. The world should rise against you, still the U.S. must prevail. The one remaining battle, the greatest darkness cast, the nation in mortal peril lay. When out of heaven came the fearful trumpet blast, and legions of good spirits joined the fray. Son of the Republic, look and learn. Three great pearls you must master each in turn. The birthing of your nation, sovereign and free, union of your states, equality. The third and final test is one you cannot fail. The world should rise against you, but the U.S. must prevail. Roll back and the battle ceased. We heard these words as danger finally passed, while the stars shone down on the earth beneath. Just as long shall the Union last. Son of the Republic, look and learn. Three great pearls you must master each in turn. The birthing of your nation, sovereign and free, union of your states, equality. The third and final test is one you cannot fail. The world shall rise against you, still the U.S. must prevail. The world shall rise against you, but the U.S. must prevail.
There you go. Hope that came across with good sound.
Very good.
Very good.
I'm going to share one more time, and this is for my PowerPoint. So let me find. Okay, there it is. Go to the beginning. All right. So this is, as I mentioned, an update of a presentation I gave almost exactly 1 year ago. And I already mentioned about the song. So I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to provide this update from my own personal perspective regarding the amazing workings of heaven. I'll offer an abbreviated summary of my previous presentation and then present some of the more recent observations. First, God is the Alpha and the Omega. God is alive now in these last days of his providence and has been actively working every minute since the dawn of history to fulfill one unchanging dream. The fulfillment of God's ideal in the last days will absolutely be consistent with God's ideal at the beginning. So at the beginning of creation, at least according to the Jewish Bible and Christian Bible, God created Adam and Eve in his image and gave them 3 blessings: to be fruitful, to multiply, and to have dominion. At the beginning of human history, before Adam and Eve were mature, Satan tempted them through their physical bodies and they fell. God intended man's physical body to have dominion over the physical world. Because of Satan's temptation, the fallen angel came to dominate mankind's physical body, and through that, to dominate the entire physical world. Even St. Paul, one of Jesus's greatest disciples, lamented Satan's domination of his body. No one ever fully manifested God-centered dominion over creation, which is to be built only on the foundation of the first 2 blessings. Since we never matured as individuals, we have historically thought about material and wealth in very self-centered ways. Dr. Hakchahan, whom we affectionately call Holy Mother Han, co-founder of UPF and the founder of the Interreligious Association for Development and Peace, wrote in her memoir, Mother of Peace, "Evil is acting for selfish gain, whereas goodness is to serve others and let go of the memory of having done so. When we give and forget, true love flourishes." UPF stands on 3 principles for peace building: interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values. She said that the fallen world programs us to think that when we give something away, it's gone. But in true love, however, the more we give, the more we receive. When our mindset changes from wishing to receive love to wishing to give love, the world of peace will be at hand. In the Bible, We read about the model formula for restoring the three blessings when Jacob offered his life, his family, and all his material wealth in order to win Esau's heart, and he came face to face with God when he embraced his brother. Jesus, through his teachings, revealed much about our proper relationship with the physical world and with material wealth. He said in Matthew 6:24, "No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." And Satan tempted Jesus with three temptations. The third and final temptation was related to material wealth and dominion. He said, "Bow down to me and I'll give you everything." And Jesus rebuked Satan and defeated Satan on an individual level. Jesus has been working since his resurrection to victoriously offer a nation to God that could represent the world. That nation is America. The Pilgrims, representing the fruit of 1,600 years of Jesus' efforts, came to America with the dream of establishing a nation where they could freely worship and dedicate everything to God. They manifested Jesus' standard of putting God's vision before material desires at the risk of their lives. Half the party of the Mayflower died the first winter, many of starvation, rather than touching the grain in the hold of that ship, which was reserved for planting the following spring. God made his covenant with those Pilgrims and showered unprecedented blessings on America, not just freedom, but incredible wealth. As he did with Jacob, God entrusted those blessings to America as stewards for all other countries. God urgently needs America to awaken to its responsibilities on behalf of the entire world. 2020 marked 400 years since the Pilgrims came to this nation. Shortly after making his covenant with the Pilgrims, God watched with tremendous grief as America was spiritually invaded and seduced through Satan's third temptation. We set aside our focus on God and instead worshiped the false idols of wealth, power, fame, and lust. Over the last 4 years, as described in the song I shared, America was confronted with the depth of our own depravity and faced the very real possibility of our own destruction. God needed America to repent and come home like the prodigal son and reaffirm our original purpose and ideal, one nation under God. God worked powerfully to reaffirm freedom of worship and freedom of conscience. God worked powerfully to lift up the family in America and to push back against forces seeking to corrupt our children and destroy the original ideal of creation. God restored a government dedicated to transparency, ending conflicts, and aggressively pursuing peace based on universal values and mutual prosperity. We are truly witnessing a remarkable spiritual awakening in America. In order to become a nation that can stand as God's exemplary steward of the creation on behalf of all nations, we must start by achieving the first two blessings, reaching spiritual maturity as individuals, which is to be fruitful, and establishing God-centered families, which is to multiply. We must reawaken and revive American families. With a parental heart of true love, we must do our very best to end the conflicts still raging in the world, mobilize support for those afflicted by wars, and build a foundation of peace on which to unite all mankind as one family. We are called to raise up our children as pure waters, to serve, love, and heal the world, and to help all mankind connect to our original parent, God. I was very inspired by the recent IAPD testimony of Rabbi Michael Shevak, who shared about the global significance of the Korean Peninsula and the work of UPF's co-founder, Dr. Hak Jahan, to achieve Korean reunification. She has been outspoken about the need at this time to know and experience God's feminine aspect, Heavenly Mother, and to align with the shift from the logic of power to the logic of love. Heavenly Mother's love, like the ocean, can embrace all the various rivers of history, civilizations, and religions, and bring fighting brothers into unity. Heavenly Mother's love can heal ancient enmities and bring the natural surrender of angry hearts. We're now in the end times, and we can see it played out all around us. All the seeds of history are bearing fruit. God has been working to bring unity between Jacob and Esau on the global level. On November 9th, 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, leading to a German reunification. In South Africa, on May 10th, 1994, we saw a white government motivated by wealth and power dominate and exploit the black majority for years. Nelson Mandela spent more than 2 decades in prison for opposing that unjust regime, but finally became the president and united in forgiveness with former President Frederick William de Klerk to achieve a peaceful transition to majority rule. In the late 1940s in North Korea, Reverend Sun Myung Moon was severely tortured to the point of death and then imprisoned in a hard labor concentration camp for nearly 3 years. More than 40 years later, on November 30th, 1991, Reverend Moon and Dr. Hak Jahan visited North Korea at the risk of their lives, winning the heart and lifelong respect and trust of Kim Il-sung and offering great financial support for that nation. They signed an agreement with Kim Il-sung to take important steps towards reunification, including exchange visits, cultural exchanges, promoting tourism at Diamond Mountain in North Korea, the establishment of an automobile manufacturing in North Korea under the name of Pyeonghwa Motors. Pyeonghwa is Korean for peace. Dr. Hak Jahan is now 82, and she's determined to unify Korea. She's working with government and faith leaders around the world to achieve this historic breakthrough. As America, representing all mankind, achieves a substantial rebirth and overcomes Satan's third temptation, Satan will be forced to leave the entire world. His power, which is propping up all the evil governments and institutions of this world, will quickly dissipate. On that foundation, Satan's kingdoms will crumble. As with the collapse of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and of the Soviet Union in 1990, great doors will open. The wall came down in Berlin in 1989 and Germany unified in 1990. At that time, West Germany had 62 million people and East Germany only 16 million, roughly a quarter. East Germany's per capita GDP was 7,400 euros versus West Germany's 22,700, roughly a third. Based on research published in Brown University's Political Review, on the link below, West Germany bought up 94% of the viable corporations in East Germany and laid off millions of East German workers, many of whom ended up on the streets. Women suffered disproportionately. East German industrial production crashed 73%. In Korea, we must do better. As documented in the Wilson Quarterly on the link below, when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, their currency was worthless. Overnight, their faltering economy imploded with no hard currency to import desperately needed goods. Shamefully, America refused to lift a finger. Congratulating ourselves on defeating communism, America did virtually nothing to help Russia during this devastating economic crisis. Russia's intelligence mafia stepped into that vacuum and privatized the dysfunctional Russian industrial base into the hands of a few cronies led by Vladimir Putin. In Korea, we must do much, much better. Unlike Germany, where the East population was roughly a quarter of the West's, North Korea's population is roughly half of the South's. And whereas the East German per capita income was roughly a third of the West's, North Korea's per capita income is only a mere 1/25 of the South's. As it happened in East Germany, leaving the population of North Korea jobless is not an option. America must lead the world to mobilize vast resources and expertise, much larger than in Ukraine, to achieve the economic reunification of Korea. Like Jacob, America was established for this final moment, to set the example of mutual prosperity on a global level. And unlike Germany, we must not selfishly invest for our own benefit. We must take responsibility for North Korea's suffering people's health and vitality. Here are 3 projects advocated by Dr. Hak Jahan to aid the reunification of Korea. A 5th UN headquarters, the first in Asia, in the DMZ between North and South Korea. A peace park in the DMZ to commemorate this historic reunification for future generations, and a global peace road and railroad connecting all humanity, which would link North Korea by rail to both America and Japan through tunnels, as well as the rest of the world. I firmly believe that the destiny of Korea lies significantly in the hands of America as we support the initiatives of the people of North and South Korea. America is just now emerging from the weight of 400 years of satanic corruption. God is calling America now to reclaim our historic covenant and stand up as stewards of God's blessings on behalf of the entire world. I believe we have made a good start, seeking to build peace through mutual prosperity and living for the sake of others. I pray that we can quickly help achieve the spontaneous and joyful reunification of Korea. Praise God.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank
It was
you.
a very good presentation. And those are the thoughts of Lawrence himself. Some of them resonate with various ambassadors for peace in various countries. Some of them may not, but we're open to all views and to understand and dialogue. So we appreciate your presentation. I'd like to go to David Eaton just to get a comment from him on how he worked with Seiko Lee to have her go to North Korea and perform there for peace. David, welcome.
Thank you very much. Especially inspired to hear the testimony from Brother Eknath Dakal. Amazing testimony. Thank you so much. A beautiful song by Lawrence Bear. Bravo. Great work. And you have 11 grandchildren. Bravissimo for that. Okay. But yeah, I had the opportunity going back over the last 40 years to work with the Little Angels on several occasions, both in concert and in the recording studio. And I just wanted to mention that in the early 1960s, when Reverend Sun Myung Moon and Dr. Hak Jahan Moon started their work in 1962, they formed the Little Angels and an art school, the Sunhwa Art School in Seoul. And this was a very ambitious endeavor at the time because Korea has just come out of the Korean War. There was economic instability, but they had a vision. They had an idea that art and culture could play a role to open people's hearts and minds to new ideas. And in fact, both of them in their memoirs say almost the same thing, that people think that it's politics that changes the world, but that is not the case. It is art and culture that can change the world, because when people's hearts are open by beauty, the phenomenon of beauty, they can receive new ideas, new thoughts, and they can act in ways that are more in line with, I would say, a high spiritual providence, right? And Leonard Bernstein made the point also, art can't change events, but it can change people. So that's what we're working on. So with regard to Seiko Lee, many of you know Seiko, a wonderful soprano from Japan. She traveled to North Korea on 4 occasions to give concerts in North Korea. And she even won an award in a singing competition because she learned a beautiful North Korean song, sang it in the Korean language, and she just melted people's hearts. That a Japanese woman, who represents the enemy nation, would learn their song and sing it so beautifully, completely won them over, and she won first place in this competition. It just proves, again, the power of art and culture to reach people in very deep ways. And also the work we did in the Middle East over a period of 10 years, we did many concerts, productions with Israeli artists, Palestinian artists, Muslim artists, Christian artists. And when people come together to do art and music or a service project or even sports, the barriers that often are problematic about politics and religion easily disappear. And because people are working for a common cause or common goal. So I just thanks to Dr. Jenkins for the opportunity to share a bit about that. And down the road, and I should just say, just this past Sunday, the Little Angels were in London. and they performed at a UPF event in London, and I was happy to make a few remarks. But they did wonderful work, and they're really, really serious ambassadors for peace. So my motto, of course, is more music, less talk. So I won't say too much more. But thank you for the opportunity to say a few words here today, and hopefully we can do more. Thank you.
Well, we're honored to have you, David Eaton. Continue on with UPF and your leadership to bring peace. We'd like to conclude our program now with two more things. We'd like to have Honorable Eknath Dakal, the Member of Parliament and the International Vice President of UPF International. I'd like you to give some final remarks, and then we'll turn to Tomiko Duggan that will also give the final concluding remarks, and I will finish at this moment. I welcome also Honorable Eknath Dakal for final remarks, and then Tomiko Duggan, you just come on and close the program. All right, Eknath, thank you for your
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins.
real
I think
presentation
really,
of bringing peace.
yeah, thank you so much. So I learned a lot today, especially from Sir Lawrence, his presentation, giving a lot of information and some direction, and also sharing from Sir David Eaton. I think it's really inspiring program and perfectly match and align with our topic today, connecting people to people, relation to overcome divide and building bridges and peace through our inter-religious association for peace and for peace. So I think it's really perfectly match everything together. It's not only interfaith, also culture, arts, spirituality, people. When everything come together, centered on God, I think we can achieve our mission. So I'm really inspired. Thank you so much. So back to you, Mrs. Tomiko Dugan.
Yeah, thank you so much. Lawrence, would you like to say a few words before we conclude?
No, just an honor to be able to participate, and I'm so thrilled to meet Eknath. I hope we can have a chance to connect more. And thank you so much for the privilege.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you so much once again. Coming from Nepal, it's close to after midnight. And, you know, almost 20 years before you visit North Korea, I was able to visit North Korea. And I was able to see some development, some wonderful facility that you have shown. And when we go with open heart, people to people, we can really see we are truly the human beings, and how we can really come together to the floor where we can really stand as a good human beings, hoping to bring great happiness and peace. And we really do not want to see anybody, country you mentioned that, Lawrence, that when they were reunified, the money, currency in East Europe becomes worthless. And I have seen when I went to Cambodia and the refugee camps, when they were invaded by Vietnam a long time ago, and the currency in Cambodia become worthless. We see such a suffering face, especially women and children, truly victims of the war and conflict. And I'm so impressed, Honorable Dakar, for the level of dedication you took, and with open hearts. And I was always wanted to hear what you have accomplished, what you have done it, and while you are in North Korea, and right after you again did follow-up programs. Very, very impressive. We are looking forward your special role that you can fulfill the country like Nepal, which is still wonderful diplomatic relationships. Thank you so much for once again coming, and I'm so worried that because it's a midnight, after midnight. And thank you so much as your current congressman and spending your time. Thank you so much for coming to join us and sharing your thoughts and development. Thank you, brothers and sisters and members of UPF and Ambassadors for Peace. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next month. Thank you. Have a good evening and good afternoon.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you
Thank
to your wife,
you.
Honorable Dakar. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you, Lawrence.
you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you all.